Astronauts' days are scheduled down to 5-minute increments. That means no surprises, not even when it comes to your bathroom break. On Earth, we might never think of such control, but in orbit, even a single unscheduled minute can ripple through the lives of 6 people and derail carefully coordinated science. What makes life so tightly micromanaged in space, and how can anyone cope with such discipline for months at a time? You're about to find out as we follow an astronaut through one meticulously structured day in orbit. But before we move on, I would like to ask you for a quick favor. We are just starting out, so your support means the world to us. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. And now, let's dive right into the uncovering of our today's episode. Imagine waking up glued to a wall, not out of fear, but because your sleeping bag is zipped to a panel keeping you from drifting away. That is how a new day begins aboard the International Space Station. Instead of rolling out of bed to the floor, you unzip and carefully ease your way out of what's basically a cloth cocoon, hanging inside a personal booth about the size of a phone booth. This booth isn't for luxury. It's just wide enough to stretch out and just tall enough to shut the curtain for privacy. Once open, you're floating. There's no gravity to pull you out, so you push against the wall and softly drift into the corridor, ready to begin your schedule. But unlike Earth, there isn't a sunrise waiting to welcome you. The station circles Earth at over 17,000 miles an hour, which brings a fresh dawn and dusk about every 45 minutes. From any porthole, you could see the line between night and day pass by again and again, but you can't rely on that to guide your body. Instead, a carefully designed system of timed lighting and alarms keeps astronauts on a 24-hour rhythm. White light mimics morning, dimmer tones mark the evening, and alarms make sure no one drifts into oversleeping while the planet cycles through 16 sunrises beneath them. Starting the morning routine is more complicated than simply washing up. There are no showers here. Water droplets would escape, float around, and short out electronics. So cleansing is done with pouches of rinseless body wipes. For their hair, astronauts massage a specialized no-rinse shampoo through their scalp, then towel off the residue. Even brushing teeth feels different in space. Spitting into a sink isn't an option. So astronauts either swallow the foam or wipe it into a cloth. Every ordinary action on Earth has to be adapted into a controlled, precise sequence up here. The most engineered part of the morning happens in the tiny cubicle that doubles as a bathroom. Gravity isn't available to pull waste down, so fans create steady airflow that directs everything where it needs to go. Straps and foot restraints keep the astronaut stable in place. What would be a quick stop at home can take longer here, since the airflow acts as a substitute for gravity. It's finicky, and astronauts have to double-check that everything is sealed and nothing has floated away from where it belongs. That sounds awkward, but it's an essential routine that keeps the station safe and livable. So the first hour of a space morning isn't casual, it's engineered. Sleeping, waking, brushing, and every single bathroom break are built into the day by design. Life begins not with natural rhythms, but a schedule that controls every detail. And that same precision moves directly into the first meal, where even breakfast must obey the physics of weightlessness. Because your cereal doesn't just sit still, it drifts. On Earth, breakfast is about flavor, warmth, maybe even comfort. In orbit, it's about control, because a single breadcrumb floating through the cabin can end up inside a ventilation fan or block a filter that the whole station depends on. Each meal isn't just food, it's carefully engineered equipment that fits into the daily rhythm. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner still happen, not because astronauts are hungry at the same times we are, but because these familiar markers help keep them grounded in a world where day and night blur 16 times every day. Meals keep the clock steady, even when the view outside suggests chaos. Now picture setting a table without gravity. There are no bowls because soup would drift into blobs. There are no plates because scrambled eggs would smear off in all directions. Instead, meals arrive in compact packets devised to travel well, store long, and release with minimal mess. Many come dehydrated, so astronauts connect the pouch to a rehydration unit that injects precise amounts of hot or cold water. The food then needs kneading, squeezing the pouch until the water and powder mix thoroughly. Other items are thermostabilized, basically sealed in foil packs, ready to be heated by a small food warmer attached to the wall. Bread, of course, is gone. Not because astronauts don't want a sandwich, but because loose crumbs spell disaster when mixed with air ducts and delicate electronics. The solution is tortillas, which hold together without scattering particles. A tortilla smeared with peanut butter and honey is a favorite in space, not because of luxury, but because it doesn't require knives, cutting boards, or any extra cleanup. Every choice has that logic. No waste, no floaters, no chance of error. The calorie counts also matter. Most people don't track them closely at home, but astronauts have no choice. They push their bodies hard, exercising around 2 hours a day to keep bones and muscles strong. This means needs climb, often reaching 3,000 to 3,200 calories daily, depending on workload and body type. Skipping meals isn't an option because underfueling could compromise not only individual health but also tasks that require precision and alertness. Every item is recorded, tracked, and reviewed so Earth can adjust diets if needed. But eating isn't just about function. Imagine 6 people floating together around a module, each tethered by knees or feet so they don't float away, trading stories while sipping coffee through straws poked into sealed bags. That's as close as they come to a kitchen table. Food helps structure time, but it also reinforces connection, creating moments of normal human routine in an otherwise alien environment. So even though breakfast might be a rehydrated pouch of eggs and a tortilla instead of toast, it still fulfills the same role it does on Earth: energy, comfort, and structure. Meals aren't just calories, they're engineered survival tools that happen to taste like home. And keeping that body fueled only matters if you can keep it strong, which is where exercise takes over. On Earth, some people dread a trip to the gym. In orbit, there's no choice. Exercise isn't about body image or personal goals, it's survival. Without it, muscles shrink and bones lose density at a rate so alarming that skipping even a single session risks damage you'll feel when you finally return to gravity. Imagine stepping off the spacecraft months later and discovering your legs can't hold you. That's why exercise isn't optional. It's scheduled every single day. 2 full hours are blocked out daily, and astronauts must commit to them. These sessions aren't squeezed between tasks or dropped when work gets busy. They are as important as experiments or maintenance because the human body itself is an experiment under strain. With microgravity removing all normal resistance, bones can thin by up to 1% each month, and muscles weaken just as fast. Left unchecked, these changes would make a return to Earth or any other planet nearly impossible. To fight back, the station is stocked with specialized equipment. The treadmill looks familiar, but requires a harness system and bungee cords to pull the astronaut down onto the belt. Without that, their feet would leave the surface with each step, and they'd float instead of run. Stationary cycling works in a similar way, with pedals fastened to a wall and shoes clipped in, leaving the rider strapped as if they're pedaling in mid-air. The most complex device, though, is the Advanced Resistive Exercise Device, often called ARED. It uses vacuum cylinders to simulate weight, letting astronauts perform squats, deadlifts, and bench presses even when actual weight is absent. Every workout is a careful simulation of gravity itself. The scene is both ordinary and extraordinary. Picture someone pressing down with hundreds of pounds of simulated force, straps clinging to their shoulders, body straining against pistons, while a window beside them shows continents sliding beneath at 5 miles a second. Some astronauts joke that every day in orbit feels like leg day, and it's not far from the truth. Large leg and core muscles need extra attention because they deteriorate the fastest when unused in space. But even sweat refuses to behave the way it does on Earth. Without gravity, droplets don't roll off in beads or fall to the floor. They stick, clinging stubbornly to the skin and sometimes forming floating blobs. That's why ventilation fans are crucial throughout the station, pulling moisture away, and why wipes are standard after workouts. You can't just grab a towel and expect gravity to finish the job. The payoff of these intense routines is simple. Astronauts land back on Earth able to stand, walk, and recover. The discipline keeps them functional in orbit and ensures their bodies can adapt when the mission ends. And when the day's work and exercise are finished, routines shift again. this time toward winding down and connecting with Earth before sleep begins. Every 5 minutes in orbit is accounted for. What looks like micromanagement from Earth is actually survival and teamwork compressed into a repeating cycle. Wake up, eat, exercise, work, rest. Every small block of time keeps both the station and the crew alive. Imagine yourself in that schedule. Which part would you handle without trouble, and which would push you past your limit? Share your thoughts below, because the routines that seem ordinary here are the foundation of living in space. Each toothbrush moment, every workout, every meal pouch is part of preparing humanity for journeys even farther away. That's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We've got plenty more mysteries to uncover together. See you in the next one.